welcome back to my channel. So I'm joined today by my cousin Prab. Prab is actually in her second year of her physician's assistant.
Physician assistant.
I said that on purpose. Physician assistant program. Prab and I actually live about 3 hours away from one another. She's up in Northern California. I'm here in the Central Valley. But she's been living with me for like the past month because she had her second rotation was here in like a neighboring city. She's actually heading back home today because her rotation has ended. I wanted to sit down with her and film a video before she left because I know a lot of us can be interested in a career field and want to ask questions to somebody that's like on the inside. So I figured who better to ask than an actual physician assistant student about physician assistant, career and questions. So I'm going to stop doing all the talking and I'm going to let Prab introduce herself before we get into the question.
Hi everyone, I'm Prab. I'm a PA student, as Sherry mentioned. I went to my undergrad at UC Irvine. Zoo as Barack Obama would say. So yeah, I went to UC Irvine. Sherry and I both went there, and then after that I worked to get my patient care experience. After working, I finally got accepted into PA school, and it's in Northern California, and I really like it.
The questions that we're gonna ask, they're gonna be far from like the basic questions like why did you want to become a PA and all that kind of stuff. I really want to ask her some quote unquote like taboo questions that like we all have on our mind but we may not have somebody to ask. So I'm gonna ask Prab to be really open and honest with us.
I'm gonna try. It's a little bit of a disclaimer. Everything I say does not represent my universities. It's all my opinions, and I haven't been paid. I haven't been like anything. Okay, it's nothing to do with the university.
Yeah, she has to give the disclaimer because of her program.
Yeah,
which you're not gonna mention, right?
Mm-mm.
It's actually, the first question is, how difficult is it really to manage PA school and such an intense program with your social life and your family like responsibilities?
So I'm gonna be honest with you, PA school is exactly like what people say. It's like drinking water from a fire hydrant. I know, I had to say it. But it's crazy. So like PA school, it varies in which program you go to, but typically is around 27 months or sometimes more. So my program is 27 months, and the first year, so the first 12 months, we are just sitting on our butts in class, like learning everything from like 8 to 5. It's like a full-time job basically. And that was really difficult because we were having tests like almost every week, and they were really big tests. So I was constantly studying. I honestly like did not have a life. I told my parents and my friends before, like, I'm going to be really busy and I'm sorry if you feel like I'm ignoring you. But yeah, it's crazy. It's real what people say. It is extremely difficult, but it is doable.
Do you think the cost of PA programs are fair in comparison to the earning potential of the career?
Oh, absolutely. I keep saying that every school is different and it varies, but it varies in terms of tuition as well. So mine is a private university, so it's a little bit more expensive. It's like around $117,000, $120,000 for the full 27 months.
Like tuition.
Yeah, tuition. And like potentially as a PA, you could be making like anywhere. I think average now is like 120 starting. Like, okay, you could be on the lower end at like 100, but still $120,000 starting is great. And like I know some people who began and their starting pay was $150. So you could definitely, if you earn all that money in the first year and you work hard to save it and pay off your loans, it's definitely worth it. It's, I think, like voted like the top third job to get with a master's degree. And I hate to like already bring that up because it's not just like a regular master's degree, because regular master's degree you need about 32 units in that specific area, I think, and then a PA program is way many units. I think it's like 132 if I'm right. It's like, it should be a doctorate. Oops.
We're getting controversial.
Yeah.
If you weren't gonna be a PA, what would have been your other career choice?
A fashion designer. I had to say it. I was like really interested in like designing clothes and like fashion when I was little, but that didn't really work out as a career.
Like, how many times should I really apply to PA school if I keep getting rejected before I'm like, okay, maybe I should think of something else now?
Yeah, that's kind of like a difficult question to answer because it really depends on like how bad you want it. And like, I hate to even say that because like if you want it really bad and you keep trying, like you shouldn't just kind of like watch your life go by. Like, I know some people who have been in that situation, and I think a person should really keep trying until like they definitely think they've given it their best, but they shouldn't be trying if they don't have like a full application. Like, if you don't think your application is strong, don't submit. Work on making your application strong and becoming a stronger candidate. Save your money and then apply. But I think like average, like a student usually applies like 2 to 3 cycles. So that's average. And I know people who've tried 4 times in a row, and that's kind of getting like, I think, towards like the limit, where I would start considering other options. I don't want to like discourage people from like, you know, their life-term goal if that's what they really want, but I really think you should be smart and like your application. You have to make your application stronger before you reapply. If you've applied 1 year and you've done nothing different in that year off, then like really what are you trying to do with your second application? You have to do something different. You have to show the admissions committee that, hey, this is what I've done. I understand you guys didn't accept me, but this is why you will accept me this year, because like I've done this different, you know?
What do you think would have been your absolute max that you would have applied?
Oh, that's a hard question. I think like probably like 4.
Like
4
after
years.
The first one, you'd be like, all right, like,
yeah, I think
else.
I would.
Fashion designer. Is what has been the best and worst part of PA school?
I think the best has definitely been like being in a room full of people who want the same exact thing you do. Like, they are all super hardworking people. My class is amazing. They all want the same thing, which is just make lives better, and they're there to like better themselves as a provider, and they all just want the best for you. I love like how cohesive our class is. So I think that was like my favorite part of the first year, was just like sitting in class with these amazing people who are going to be your like future colleagues, and like you learning alongside them. And like, if you don't understand something, like there was this one guy in my class, like he would just spend so much time of his own time teaching us about like, you know, the clotting cascade. Like the fact that he'd spent his own time teaching us that, like I always will remember that. And I think meeting the right people was like the best part of PA school so far. The worst part of PA school like is obviously just all the studying you have to do, because like you're constantly stressed. Like I was so stressed. I would have like breakdowns of like randomly crying because I'm just like, am I gonna pass? Is this like what I'm supposed to be doing? But I think everybody goes through that. They question themselves, but you just have to stick to it, you know?
Good answer. Good answer.
Thank you.
Okay, how would you differentiate between a nurse practitioner and a physician assistant?
So that's a great question, and they often like to ask this during interviews. So this is definitely something you should like, if you're interested in the physician assistant career, be researching and figuring out what's different between us. So a nurse practitioner and physician assistant are both very similar jobs. They're both like advanced practice clinicians. So nobody likes to call them mid-level providers. That's not like really a liked term anymore. Nurses are taught on a nursing model, whereas PAs are taught on a medical model, similar to how MDs and DOs are taught. You need to become a nurse practitioner. You have to have a bachelor's in nursing first. So you have to be a RN first. And then you can apply for your master's in nursing, and then eventually, if you want, a doctorate in nursing. PA, you can have any bachelor degree. You could be like an art major, as long as you do your prereqs required by each school. Typically, they're very similar to like MD schools. And then you just need your direct patient care experience, which can be like as anything, like as long as you're directly working with a patient. It could even be as an RN. I know some RNs who have decided to pursue a PA versus NP. So that's like kind of the difference in terms of like how to get there. But in terms of the job, I have done my rotation with both a PA and an NP. Exact same thing. Yeah.
How do you think the healthcare industry perceives physician assistants?
Yeah, another great question. So I think like how you mentioned earlier when it was physicians, like apostrophe S. So a lot of people think that we're just like an assistant like to the doctor, which is not exactly right. And the term like physician assistant in itself is kind of like misleading, I think. I think in the past 50 years, like as we've become kind of more known to the world and to the healthcare industry, we have gotten more respect because people are seeing that we can really help in the healthcare field. We can make a difference. So people are becoming more willing to accept us. But I know like the people who came before me, they had to definitely fight for rights for us.
That kind of leads into the next one. How do you feel like being called a physician assistant, or like how I said it intentionally before, but some people actually say it like this, physician's assistant?
Yeah. I don't really care for the term too much. I think it doesn't accurately depict, what physician assistants can do. I think physician associate, which is what it used to be called, I think, would be more accurate. I think as long as like we're doing what our patients deserve and we're like treating them right and helping, then the name really doesn't matter. But I think in the long term, I definitely think a different name should be considered. And I believe like our main organization, AAPA, is working on that.
You know what's funny is PA is also Prob's initials.
I know, right? So yeah, I don't want to say my full name or whatever.
Yeah, but it's like she was meant for this, right?
PAPA, like PA squared. It was like written in my destiny. I'm not changing my last name after getting married. I have to keep it.
Her future husband's watching this.
He's like, what?
What would you recommend to somebody that's gotten rejected from a PA program, whether it's their first time or even like second time?
Not to get discouraged. I have my own share of rejection letters and rejection emails, and it sucked when you get those because you're just like, am I not good enough? Like, am I choosing the right career? But you just have to really like stick with it. You have to do some soul searching and realize that yes, this is what I want. This is what I worked hard for, and these rejection letters are just making me stronger and making like me work harder towards my goal. And I know it's so much easier to sit here in PA school and say that, oh yeah, like just keep working hard. But that's what I kept doing. And a little bit like when I started getting all these rejection letters, I worked a lot on like the law of attraction, like attracting what you want in your life. Like you cannot be putting out like negative thoughts, like I'm not good enough or I'm not gonna get in. You have to throw those like feelings out and just work towards, yes, this is just a reroute. Like everything happens for a reason, guys, like everything.
And who taught you that?
You did.
Okay.
Yeah, she got me into like law of attraction. I was like, oh my god.
That's on manifestation. Now, in terms of like somebody's application, right? So the first time you're applying, you're thinking you're doing your best in your application, but you don't get in. What can you do the second time around to really make sure like, okay, this time like for sure I'm a shine? Or what can you do the first time around that to like get you in the door?
Okay, here's what I would have done differently. I know a lot of PA programs have like these admit days or admit days. They have like these like preview days, information sessions where you can like literally go and talk to the admissions committee. Like they will be there and they'll see who you are and they'll see your name. They'll see that you're interested enough to show up. Like our school used to holds those, and they would tell me like only like 2 students would come, like people who were interested. And I'm like, oh my god, if I was there they would have remembered me. I'm not saying that's gonna get you in, but that's definitely something you can do to show that you care and that you are very interested in their specific program. And that's one thing I would have done different. Second thing, I already did this, but I would recommend people doing it, is if you don't get in, like email that school, better call them. I know they don't like taking calls, but call them and be like, what can I do different? Where was my application missing? And a lot of people, they don't have time to do this because thousands of people apply, but it's worth it if they are able to talk to you. If you have a PA that you shadow, or if you have a PA that you want as a mentor, talk to them to see what you would do differently. I have a mentor, Eliza, shout out. She's amazing. She really helped me through like my rejections and like what I could do better.
How do you think your clinical rotations have compared to your didactic year?
So like with the whole COVID-19, it's really affected everyone, and including my rotation. So I only got to go to 2 rotations and we were pulled out for a 3rd one. Hopefully we'll be going to our 4th one. But the first 2 that I had, they were both in primary care, and I liked them. But I think that I'm looking forward to the different rotations I'm going to get in the future, and hopefully that'll kind of show me, like what I went to PA school for. But it's so much better than just sitting on your butt like 8 to 5. So far it's been great because like you can have like more of a life per se. I mean, you still have to study, which I need to work on that, but you still have to study and it's different. But I think like clinical year is so much better.
Do you feel like you were adequately like prepared for your rotations?
I've heard from plenty of my friends and plenty of like preceptors that say like students from our specific school are very well prepared, and like that feels so good to hear, because it's like, yes, our faculty did a great job preparing us for the real life like patients and things. So I definitely felt prepared. Like when I would go to a room, I would just do my exam and then find, you know, whatever I had and like what the first level treatment is, second level treatment, and then I would present that to the preceptor, and he's like, oh wow, like, you know, the second level, you know, this. I was like, yes. So I think our school really prepared us well.
Wow. Again, her school's name is, what do you think makes a successful PA student? We'll finish with this one. So
okay, that's a great question, because I thought PA school was going to be like a nightmare the first year. I mean, kind of was, but that I was like gonna fail everything and that I'm not good enough. I hadn't been in school for a while, but honestly, like, I did well in the, I don't want to like be like, oh my god, I did great, but yeah, I did.
She kind of a genius or whatever.
I felt like I did pretty well in class in school, and I think successful PA students, they are constantly reviewing. You have to kind of like study in class, like not study in class while the teacher is obviously lecturing, whatever, listen in class, go home, go to the library, study what you just learned, make notes, make pretty notes so you want to look at them later and like share them with your friends, make Quizlets. I love Quizlet, like that helped me so much. People have already created like a bunch of different sets, so it's not like you have to spend time making your own. You could just study off of other people's if they're okay with that. And then just constantly be reviewing and try different methods. So if one method doesn't work out for you, you need to try something different. You cannot keep relying on the same thing if it's not working out for you. Like if you're not a visual learner, try like moving, like being kinesthetic, and because some people are the like hands-on learners. So you have to see what kind of learner you are and really roll with that.
Yeah. I just thought of like one more question. I think it might be like really hard, so I'm gonna ask. What do you think is a con? A con or cons?
Oh, that's a hard question. There are none. If you feel as a person you cannot work with like someone above you, like a supervising physician, if you feel like you kind of have that personality where like, no, what I say is right and I'm not willing to collaborate with anybody, then this is not the career for you, because as a PA you do have to work underneath the supervision of a doctor, and like that would be I think a con, because like let's say a person spends all this time in the career like PA school, like, oh, I'm gonna be a PA, but then they go out and then they're like, I'm literally doing the same thing as that person and they have a higher degree license than me and like they're getting paid more, and like I'm not happy about that. So you know, like if you have that kind of like mentality, then this is not for you. So you have to be like okay with this kind of collaborative approach. Recently I shadowed somewhere, during my rotation, and this lady, she was like a doctor in another country, and when she came here she didn't want to go to med school, so she just decided to go to PA school, I guess. And she literally like told me that, oh, like, why did you go to PA school? You know, you're not gonna be happy for the rest of your life. You'll be happy for like 5 years, and afterwards you're just gonna get bored. And I'm like, wow, that is a lot of words coming out of your mouth. Like, yeah. You know, but I understand from her perspective where she kind of had like that higher level, you can say, and then she went from that to like a PA. So if you have that same mentality, this is not right for you. So
okay, so check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Exactly.
Okay guys, so that's gonna finish up our video. I hope you enjoyed it. I wanted to do this in the spirit of interprofessional collaboration and education. I want to thank Prob again for being so open and honest with her answers.
Thank you for having me. You guys are the best. Follow Sherry. I don't know what else to say. Subscribe.
Thank you so much.
Come to me when I'm a PA. I will check your heart. Here, let's pretend.
No, check my heart. My heart big, but it be quiet.
You crazy?
Okay, bye.